Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for BroadwayWorld. Following a sold-out run in San Francisco, Beautiful, the Carole King Musical, which stars Jessie Mueller as the legendary singer-songwriter, will open on Broadway on January 12th. And I'm here at the Stephen Sondheim Theatre to meet the company and bring you a sneak peek.
I took a drink.
So what was it like for you as the writer from the very first draft to now? Things that have changed, things you learned, things that set you on the right path?
You know, that's a very good question. I interviewed the four songwriters at length. Barry and Cynthia I interviewed together. Carole and Jerry I interviewed separately because they were in different cities. And I got to tell you, it was the thrill because, you could sit with someone whom, I was sitting with artists whom I've admired since I was a kid. And it's such a lucky thing because you're with someone whose work you've loved and admired for a long time, and you can just say, hey, why'd you call it the locomotion and not the 523 to Stanford, or whatever choices they made? I could ask them, and I could also explore with them what the events in their lives were, because as Paul said, I didn't want to write a jukebox musical. I didn't want to just do a nostalgic parade of great old songs, great as they are. That, for me, that wouldn't be interesting. I wanted to know how those songs came out of those four people. So what's changed over time is that every day we find a way to integrate the songs as closely as possible with the events in their lives, so that when you hear the songs, they're in the context of what was going on with them personally. You know what I mean? Now, some of the songs don't have a context in their lives personally, because they were, one thing they were doing was writing hits. They wanted to write hit records all the time. So a song like The Locomotion, there is no personal connection, and yet the great thing about The Locomotion is it was recorded by their babysitter. So, I just looked for all kinds of ways to tie in the songs to their lives. And it's taken many tries to get the songs in all the right places and to know which events to use.
So tell me what this has been like for you working on this.
It's been wonderful. It's been a learning experience. This is certainly the first Broadway show I've had anything to do with. But it's kind of great to come from the outside and be able to just give my impression as I'm a civilian in some ways. I mean, being in Carole's family, I'm not a civilian on the story or the songs, but I'm a civilian on how it's presented to me. And I think that the producers, they work with it every day, and I come periodically and give my input. And I think they probably hate me for it, but they probably also appreciate that they get fresh ears and fresh eyes. So it's been very fun to have that role. And yeah.
When your mom was first approached, she wanted nothing to do with this, did she?
She didn't want anything. It's true. She didn't want it to be made, and it was, she's such a private person. If you know anything about her career, you know that she's done very little publicity, and she's had all this fame, and there's been a lot of pressure on her to talk about herself, and she's like, I don't want to talk about myself. So this is the ultimate in talking about yourself, this show. And so she said, well, you can talk about me, they can talk about me, but I'm not talking about myself. So it's the same premise. She wants to live her life. She doesn't want to relive her life, and I really respect that about her. She's okay for this to be going on. We have her blessing. She's okay with us sharing it with the world, but she doesn't want to churn up those emotions again, and so she actually hasn't seen it.
Oh, not yet at all?
Not yet at all.
Is she going to come to the Broadway opening, do you think?
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
Gotcha.
It does churn up a lot of emotions for her, and it's difficult for her, and she would rather just let it go on and her just know that people are happy and liking it, and she trusts me. I'm her daughter. She trusts me to get it out there, get her message out there in the best way. She knows it's not going to be dead on accurate because it's a life in 2.5 hours. It's going to be the story emotionally accurate. That's what she wants.
So when did you first get involved with the project and the journey it's taken to Broadway?
Well, I was invited to a reading a number of years ago, and which I was not involved in, and I was very attracted to the whole project. I just thought the characters were so warm, and I got to learn something about this era that I didn't really understand. But at the same time, every single song was a song that I knew, and I thought this is really special. And then Paul Blake, who I had known previously from his years at the Muni, the St. Louis Muni, he and I'd worked together many times, and he called me up and asked me if I would meet with Doug about the possibility of directing this, and I jumped at the chance. Unlike everybody who just today talked about how reluctant they were to get on the project, I as soon as I read it, I thought there's really something special here, and I would love. It's an embarrassment of riches to be able to have this kind of material, this strong a book with these songs.
Were there challenges for you? Because it's not a jukebox, it's a theater piece. I mean, how you make this all come alive?
Sure. I think with getting a consistent tone is challenging, but I think that what I try to strive for in all my work is something that feels truthful and feels real, and I think that's what we're going for with and that's what Doug's writing does, and that's what the songs do. That's what these songwriters were striving for was an authenticity and a realness, and that contrasted the kind of bubblegum pop of the early '60s. And I think one of the reasons that their songs have endured, unlike many other songs, is because there's a depth of feeling, and there's a realness to them that is universal, and so that's something that I think I was very attracted to.
Very exciting cast, of course, led by Jessie Mueller. I mean, talk about her as Carole King.
She's the Meryl Streep of musical theater.
I love that.
She is truly magnificent. From the first day of rehearsal, she has just come in with a depth of feeling and these truthful choices that she just doesn't know how to lie as an actress. And she comes out, and the glorious voice, of course, but her characterization is so deep and well crafted, and it's been nothing but complete joy to work with her on this, on crafting this performance.
You start previews tonight. I mean, you open your theater for us today. What's been the most exciting part of this experience for you?
Oh, well, the speed of it, of course, we were just in San Francisco about 3 weeks ago, and to do something on this kind of a hectic schedule, it requires that you think on your feet, and we made quite a few changes just in the last week before we went into tech, so that gets the adrenaline pumping and gets you excited about it. But of course, this is my Broadway debut as a director, and so I'm over the moon about it. I mean, it's thrilling.
I want her, and I need her, and someday, some way, whoa, I'll meet her. She'll be kinda shy, and real good looking too, and I'll be certain she's my girl by the things she'll like to do, like walking in the rain and wishing on the stars up above and being so in love. Oh, move in with me. At least move in with me.
It isn't done. It's like something out of a Balzac novel.
And marry me.
Okay, I'll move in with you. Maybe that'll hold you.
Not for long.
Play. Near me, I'll kiss him. And when he leaves me, whoa, I'll miss him.
Though sometimes we fight,
I won't really care.
I know it's gonna be alright, 'cause we got so much we share. and being so in love.
This was really exciting for us. What was today like for you?
It's exciting to to share a little sneak preview with everybody, and hopefully it'll just continue to build the buzz about this show. And tonight is our first preview, and it's nice. It's exciting. It's always a little bit daunting, especially in the digital age, to start a show in New York City, knowing that tomorrow there'll be endless tweets and message board blogs, etc. Not that we read any of those things, but we did the show in San Francisco for 4 weeks, so it was a nice way to set up and be fairly confident that we have something that really has substance, that people really are going to enjoy and take something home when they leave.
Well, tell me what San Francisco was like. I mean, the audiences went crazy.
They did. They really did. And I didn't know. Frankly, I didn't know. I know Tapestry. I know all the songs from the show. Certainly, you look at the score, and you're fascinated that these 4 kids, frankly, wrote all of these tunes. But when the generation who grew up with that music comes and sees the show, they have this deeper, visceral connection to all of the music, and especially to Carole. And it's a fascinating thing to watch. And it's a fascinating thing, and it's really an honor to sort of be able to interact with everybody afterwards. And they talk. You can see it when they talk about her, and they talk about when they were 13 or 20 or however old they were when Tapestry came out, and what it means to them, and to be transported back to that time. And it's really just it's an honor. So I'm, in Carole's hometown and all of their hometown. They're all Brooklynites. It's really exciting to be here and to see how people react here in the city.
How exciting has this been to work on?
Oh, it's been thrilling. It's been charmed in ways that I've never experienced before, this show. The people are so extraordinary. The people we're playing are so extraordinary. Creative team, the producers, the cast, stage management crew, everyone is like salt of the earth, the nicest people you ever met. So I think that plus the sort of nature of Carole King's vibe and music has made this like really the happiest experience I've ever had.
Well, talk about this great woman you're playing.
She is the sassiest. She's unbelievable. These 2 women here, there's this picture they have of 1650 Broadway at the time, and it's a sea of men in suits and 2 women doing what only men were doing at the time. So they really were phenomenal women who, in a man's world, were succeeding, like wildly succeeding at writing #1 hits. How awesome to play that.
Have you spoken to her?
Yes, many times. I've met her many times. She's awesome. She's awesome and loving, and it's daunting to play a person who's actually still alive, and you want to do them proud, but you also need to make the part your own, and how you're going to balance the two. But she's been nothing but loving and supportive the whole time long. She sent, when we were doing the tryout in San Francisco, she sent me an email telling me how wonderfully she thought I was doing, and that was a relief to know that she's sort of put her stamp of approval on my part. So
there was nothing like those days at the Brill Building. Tell me what that was like. The number we saw today when Carole first arrived there was this incredible excitement, and what was going on in that building. What was it like for you two?
It was thrilling. First of all, because we were in this one huge office with all these little cubicles, and Goffin and King were next door to us, so we could hear their process. We could hear what they were doing.
And they could hear us too.
And they could hear us, So it was this great, dysfunctional, creative, young, insane family, and we'd all have fights, and we'd have romances, and we'd have everything. It was our lives.
So do you remember the first time you all met each other? Can you tell me that story?
Well, Carole doesn't remember this, but I met Carole when she was about 15 years old. And I hadn't had a hit yet, and I went up to a record company. I think it was Dot Records, and the name of the band was a guy named Mickey Addy. But anyway, I'm sitting in the waiting room, and there's this 15-year-old kid in jeans, and I started talking to her, and she was so confident, and I thought to myself, boy, if this girl does have talent, she's going to be sensational. And that was my first introduction to Carole. Do you remember?
I think the first time we met, you and I, we were up at Kirshner's office, and they asked us to have coffee with them. And we went down, and we all had coffee and got to know each other.
And that was the beginning of a lifetime relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So tell me how exciting it is to watch this, to be a part of this show, to see your lives come about for a whole new generation and the way audiences have been receiving this.
It's thrilling. I, for one, never thought our music would live. I really thought we were writing for the pop music of that day, and when it was over, it would be the Moon Rivers that lived, but our songs wouldn't. And I'd never dreamed that something like Love and Feeling would become a Moon River.
Yeah, or that Love and Feeling would become the most played song of the last century. I mean, who would have thought that?
Because good music is good music.
I guess so. It's hard to know. When Phil Spector said to us, "This is going to be a very important song for you," I said, "Phil, any song with whoa, whoa, whoa in it can't be important." I was such a Broadway snob.
So tell me what the best part of the experience, if you could sum it up, of working on this show and being a part of this, what has it meant to you so far, the best experience?
I think the best part for me has been getting to know and working with Doug McGrath, the book writer, who is not only a brilliant book writer and whose work I admired before this, but who is the most gracious, giving, generous person I've ever met.
And all I can say is I feel like I'm going to explode with excitement just seeing Cynthia and I on stage, and just the way the whole show turned out. It just is wonderful. And I'm not saying this just to promote it. I enjoy it as much as I know the audience is going to enjoy it.
Because I sat across from you during that beautiful scene of Anika and Jared playing you two. What is it like watching yourselves your whole life play out in front of a new audience?
It's exciting, and they are so cute. I mean, if we were only that cute.
You were, and you still are.
Oh, thank you so much.
This is supposed to be so exciting. How exciting. Look at this.
So exciting. I'm standing next to Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil here. It's amazing.
Tell me what it's been like working on this show for you.
This show has been so special. From the very beginning, everyone had a feeling that this was a very special script, and it's really beautiful music, and everyone was just, there's a really special feeling about it. Everyone's really happy to be here, to be doing it.
I mean, look behind you. Talk about this man you're playing.
No, it's a little intimidating having the real guy be right on my shoulder here. Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, Jerry Goffin is such an unbelievable lyricist, and like changed the face of how we hear lyrics today. So to be able to play somebody who's still alive, but who wrote just the best lyrics is just really, really cool, really special.
Have you had a chance to talk to him?
I met him in San Francisco. He came to see the show. I did not want to know he was coming, but I'm glad that he saw it. And I was really, really happy to meet him.
So did you talk to him afterwards? Did you capture his essence? I mean, what did you ask him?
I mean, he's, you know, it was a lot of years ago, and he's gone through a lot in that time, and you know, it was very interesting to see him. I mean, he's been dealing with a lot of issues, and so his ability to communicate is a little bit difficult. But you know, it was great that he was there. It was great to see him, and that he liked it. You know, oh my God.
So this was so exciting to watch today. I have friends go to San Francisco who loved the show. What has it been like working on this?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's been unlike anything else. I mean, I've worked on new musicals before, but the collaboration on this process has been incredible. And, you know, because we're dealing with I mean, they're right behind us. The subject matter we're dealing with, you know, they're all alive and well and working and creating, and so they've been a part of it, and we've been in contact with them, and it's cool. It's a little life imitating art. It's neat. We're all like continuing to make this all together. It's been a pleasure. And this, I can't say enough about this group and this cast, but it goes past the cast. It's the crew and the musicians, and I think it's because what we're getting behind. We're getting behind Carole King and the kind of music that she put out there. So, you know, it's good vibes all around.
Well, let's talk about playing her, what it's been like, you know, finding her. I mean, you inhabit her. I mean, her daughter said, I look up there and I see my mother, I see my grandmother. So what has it been like capturing her?
Oh, gosh. I mean, capturing her has been, it's a journey, and it hasn't even ended yet, because, you know, when Tapestry came out and she kind of hit the scene, she was a very private person. So I've had so much fun, like digging through and finding interviews, and a lot of the information came from the music too, because that's what was more readily out there. And you know, the sense of joy you get from the music, and you get so much point of view from that. Just her outlook on life and the way she dealt with things. And her book's been really helpful too. And Sherry, her daughter, like you said, has been around, and she's been amazing. But a lot of research, watching a lot of interviews, the ones you can find, and lots of pictures, and listening to music over and over again. And then it's funny because sometimes I do it. I did it a lot in the beginning and then sort of left it for a while, and then I'll come back to stuff every once in a while and check in, because at the end of the day too, we all have to find our own way into it so that ultimately it feels real for an audience. So like we're not doing a mimicry or something like that, so that it feels like it's living and breathing. But I mean, it's been fun and kind of fascinating.
You make me